You could clearly tell right from the get-go who the better team was in this game. And Raptor fans, you must have known that the Boston Celtics were not going to go out easily. And after these last two games, cave in and die. This team is way too talented to have that happen. And yes, it happened last year. And yes, we don't have Kawhi Leonard or any of those, or Danny Green and whatnot. But the fact of the matter is today, what happened in Game 1 and what happened in Game 2 for the Toronto Raptors happened again in Game 5. They didn't make shots. Now, in that first quarter, the Boston Celtics were playing incredible defense, and the Raptors weren't making their wide open shots when they did get looks. But the problem I had, it was the defensive breakdowns that we're not used to seeing. But they made their wide open shots. It's plain and simple, guys. It really is. I mean, Jaylen Brown, again, you had a feeling after the way he played the last game, and you had a feeling after Kemba Walker only took 9 shots in that last game, you had a feeling those two guys would try and insert themselves early, and that is exactly what they did. Jaylen Brown knocked down his first 3, and we're like, okay, here we go. Oh, geez. And the Raptors, like I said, couldn't get anything going. They scored a total of 11, or was it 11? It was 11 points in the first quarter. It's not good enough. Your defense was okay. You only allowed 25. He did all right there. Then in the second quarter, you were kind of matching them basket for basket, and I'm like, look, your defense was so damn good in the first quarter. You keep that defensive presence up, and you shoot the way you are early on in the second quarter, you can get back into this game. But then about, 5 or 6 minutes in, the Raptors stopped making shots, and the Boston Celtics did not. It's plain and simple, really. And the onslaught continued. The breakdowns. Look, I'm sorry. Guys like Pascal Siakam, who we always know is a great defender. Fred VanVleet. OG Anunoby. All those guys. And I could even sit here and say they look tired. I'm not going to use that as an excuse, but a lot of blow-bys. And you don't see that happen with this Raptor team quite often. You got to give credit where credit is due. Like I said, the Boston Celtics forced the Raptors to play really hard defense. And that's what you have to do. But the Raptors didn't play hard defense. They allowed 37 points in the second quarter. They only scored 24. You're minus 13 in the second quarter, and you're minus 27 at halftime. You haven't made shots. You made a total of 35 points in the first half. They're over 50, but I mean, you're down by almost 30 at halftime. You need to come out in the third quarter and establish themselves early. And they did, early on in the third quarter. I think they went on a 10-5 run to start. And we're like, okay, well, it's not much, but you're down around that 20 mark. You get it down below 20, and who knows? You get it down to 15 or 10 by by the end of the third quarter, and hey, it's a whole new ball game. And they did make a few different fights, but just like in Game 1, every time there was a little fight for the Raptors, there was pushback from the Celtics, and that's exactly what you saw today. And as I mentioned, I got to keep saying this because if you watch the game, I'm not only a Raptor fan, I'm a basketball fan. The Celtics made things happen today. They really did. On offense and defensively, their rim protection was incredible. Were there some missed calls? Yeah, like the Norman Powell layup early in the game that Tice blocked, but it was really a goaltend. I mean, a 2-point basket's not going to do anything, so I'm not going to sit here and complain about the officials. Was the free throw differential a ton different? Absolutely. We had 13 free throw attempts to their 27, but that's not the difference in the game. The difference in the game is make or miss your shots. And as we've learned in this series, whoever has the more consistent shooting night is the team that wins. And that could be like, well, yeah, I mean, that's the same for any game in basketball. It is, but we have also seen the Raptors dominate all kinds of other categories, but don't shoot the ball well and lose. Those few stats are key, and especially the three-point shooting. You look at the last 2 games for the Raptors, why did they win those 2 games? They were knocking down threes. And yes, they ended the game with 12 threes. They were 12 of 40 for 30%. It's not good enough. Yeah, they shot 32%. They knocked down 1 less three, but they also took 6 less shots from beyond the arc. They also shot 49% from the field. We shot 39% from the field. I mean, it's plain and simple why you lost this game. Now, obviously, the series is not over yet. Celtic fans are going to say Celtics in 6 because they say it after every win, which is fine. Whatever. It's sport fans are sport fans, people. Boston fans are Boston fans. I had no problem with the Boston team. I think they're a great team. I think they're a fantastic team with 3 amazing players on that squad. And this Raptor team's fighting every time, but I just didn't think they put enough effort in today. Whether that is, tired for all the minutes they've played in the first 4 games, or just, lack of effort, lack of detail in a game like this. I mean, there was quite a few defensive miscues. You saw Lowry and Ibaka yelling at each other. You saw Lowry with the turnover, trying to go back to OG closer to the half-court line, and OG started cutting to the basket, and there was just a missed pass, backcourt violation. We're like, that's not what we're used to seeing. So that is not being tired. That's miscommunication. You don't see that very often from the Toronto Raptors. Now, as Raptor fans, we know for a fact in Game 6, the Raptors are going to fire their best punch out there. You know that because their backs are against the wall. Now, the question is, will they make shots? Period. That's all there is to it. Let's get to the numbers here real quick so we can break this thing down. Rebounds, we were -9, 45, 36. Offensive boards, we were +6 for some reason. It didn't feel that way in the game. Obviously, when you don't make shots, it's not gonna feel that way. 23 assists to our 19. Boston had 23 assists, 8 steals to their 5, 5 blocks to their 6, and 13 turnovers in the game. 6 of them happened early on in the game. And you look at the second half stats, guys. Like, this is the problem, was the early going. Second half, Raptors won the third quarter 28-25. Raptors won the fourth quarter 26-24. You played the better second half, but you built yourself that big of a hole in the first half. You just can't climb out of a 27-point hole against a really good basketball team. It just can't happen. Right? Now, let's keep going with these numbers here real quick. Points in the paint, they were +16, 48-32. Second chance points, 4-3 in favor of the Raptors. Fast break points, 18-13 in favor of Toronto. Yeah, we had less turnovers than they did, right? Or no, we had more, 13-11. But they had 14 points off of turnovers. That's way too many. It's way too many. You cannot allow that stuff to happen. Biggest lead in the game. Raptors never led, and they had a 30-point lead at one point in this game. It's next to impossible to climb out of that hole. Well, they did it against Dallas in the regular season. Yeah, it's also a regular season game against Dallas at home with the Raptor fans actually able to cheer you on. Now you're playing a playoff game against the Boston Celtics, and they're feeling extremely confident right now. So, yeah, you're not going to get that back. All right? Let's get to the numbers of the players real quickly here. And after us talking up Pascal Siakam in the last game, he was terrible today. And people can go, well, he shot 5 and 9. I don't care. I really don't. He had 10 points, 4 boards, 2 assists. He played 28 minutes. He only took the 9 shots in 28 minutes. What did Kemba Walker say after the last game? After taking only 9 shots, I got to shoot more. It's ridiculous. I can't be shooting that type of stuff. Well, Pascal Siakam also had 5 fouls. All 5, if I'm not mistaken, in the first half. It's not good enough. At one point, he had 10 points and 5 fouls. In like 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, are you kidding me? This is supposed to be your best player. He's got to play better. Now, we're saying that after every game, except for the last one, because he actually played well. I don't know. And he was a -25 on the floor, the whole starting unit. -25 for Pascal, -26 for OG, -14 for Gasol, -23 for Lowry, -14 for Fred VanVleet, and even a -10 for Norman Powell. Let's get to the other ones. OG Anunoby, 7.7 boards, shot 3 of 11. Not good enough. It 1 of 5, from 3, 2 steals, a block, and like I said, -26. Gasol, absolutely useless today. 14 minutes, he had no points, 5 boards, missed 4 shots, missed the 1-3 he took, had a steal in the game, was a -14 in 14 minutes. He was terrible. Kyle Lowry didn't shoot the ball well either. 10 points, 2 boards, 5 dimes in 34 minutes of work, 3 of 8 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3, 3 of 4 from the line, 2 steals in the ball game, and a -23 on the floor. Again, guys, your 2 best players, arguably, shooting-wise, didn't take shots today. Pascal had 9 shots. Lowry had 8. And OG shot 11. Not really sure how that's going to win you ball games. I love OG, and I love what he's done so far in the playoffs, but he should not be the one taking the most amount of shots in the game. He just shouldn't be. Now, obviously, Fred VanVleet and Powell had more shots. Freddie had 18 points, 2 boards, 5 assists on 6 of 14 shooting, was 2 of 7 from 3, 4 of 4 from the line, 3 steals in the game, and a minus 14. But he couldn't make shots early. You know, and all these stats could be a little bit inflated. You know, if you look at a guy like Norman Powell at 16, yeah, well, you didn't really get anything going early on in the game. That's where you needed this team to get going. Have you noticed, Raptor fans? Have you noticed that whoever gets that, you know, big time first quarter lead usually wins the game? Game 1, they crushed in the first quarter. They won. They had the second quarter. Game 2, they had the second quarter lead, or first quarter lead. They won that game. Game 3, I think they had the first quarter lead, but obviously it took a half-second shot by OG. It's kind of a toss-up at that point, literally. And Game 4, Raptors had the first quarter lead, and they won. Sorry, guys, hold on. A little stuffy up here. And then this game, you were minus 14 after 1. You lost. Getting a good start has shown in this series it goes a long way. And, you know, let's get to the numbers here real quick again. But, look, they have to start on time in Game 6 if they want even a chance at Game 6 and to force a Game 7, all right? Powell had 16 points, shot 6 of 15. You know, 4 of 11 from 3. I mean, he shot 36% from beyond the arc. Not terrible, but again, late in the game when it really didn't matter much. Ibaka had 7 points, 4 boards. Didn't make an impact at all. I think he had 18 in Game 2. Game 4. He shot 3 of 6. He was 1 of 3 from 3. Had 2 blocks in the game. Again, didn't really make an impact. I'm not sure why he only played 18 minutes of work, but okay. Where else are we here? Matt Thomas, you know, Matty Ice. In 18 minutes, he had 10 points, 4 boards, 2 dimes on 4 of 6 shooting. Was 2 of 4 from 3. He was a +5. With a game like this, do you maybe look to give Matt Thomas some more minutes there heading into Game 6? He's the only guy who made shots in Game 5 really consistently, so who knows? But again, the rest of your bench, Terrence Davis didn't give you anything. Was shot 0 of 4. Boucher was 1 of 5. I mean, not good enough. Nobody shot the ball well enough to win this game today. And look, like I said earlier, you have to credit the Celtics for playing an extremely hard basketball game. Really, their backs were against the wall in this game. And the reason I say that is because the momentum was totally in the Toronto Raptors' favor. They looked down and out to the Celtics in games after the OG shot and then in Game 4. But they came out with a purpose today. And I don't know if the Raptors were ready for it. And clearly, they lost. So in Game 6, the Raptors got to have that punch. They have to show that fight. Now, we know they will. We know the Raptors are not going to go out like this. What we saw in Game 5, we know the Raptors are not going to see that in Game 6. And you know for a fact, Boston fans, you're not going to see the same Raptor team in Game 6. I said it's going to be Raptors in 7. I'm still sticking by it because they're not done yet. It's a 3-2 series lead. It's far from being over, all right? But this team needs to get out and have a good start in Game 1. Or in the first quarter of Game 6. You don't, and you come out like this, you're done. I hate to say it that way, but this series has shown that teams get the lead, hold the lead. And the Raptors haven't had the lead very much in this series. But when they have, they've been doing it. Other than having a 12-point lead in game, Game 2. But other than that, you know, no team has really blown any leads. So the Raptors got to get out and going in the early going to Game 6 and establish themselves early. They don't, their season's done. All right? So you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. If you enjoyed the video and did not enjoy the game today, smack the like button to appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below your thoughts on the game, your thoughts on the video. If I miss anything, guys, let me know in the comments. But also, what are your thoughts on Game 6 for the Raptors? What do they need to do to take Game 6 and force Game 7? I mean, you got to look at it that way, right? How are they going to do it? And I want to hear your guys' takes. I've given you my takes. Celtic fans, enjoy the win. It was a good win. They crushed them. That's just all there is to it, all right? Twitter is down below for myself. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff, guys. Instagram link is also in the description, so if you have not followed up the Instagram page already, please go do so. And I will talk to you guys, Jay's Edition, later on today as they are taking on the Yankees, and we're down 6-2, and now it's a 6-6 game. It seems like when I do these videos, the Jays seem to find some offense. So I'll talk to you guys post-game there, Game 1 of the 3-game set against the Yankees. And as for our Raptors, as I've mentioned, Game 6 goes on Wednesday night, 6:30 tip-off there in the bubble in Orlando as the Raptors look to keep their season going against the Celtics in Game 6. Like I said, 6:30 tip-off on Wednesday, all right? So thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Talk to you guys then.